Make sure to subscribe to our channel, join our Discord, and also follow us on Instagram so you always have the support that you need to really enhance your account and get yourself to the next level. Also, if you stick around until the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can save a lot of money when you make in-game purchases by getting some amazing cashbacks each time you purchase anything. Hello everyone and welcome to another video of the Sky channel. So we are in the Surreal Wetland, so it's a perfect time to talk about the first impressions. And you can see a lot of the purple camp everywhere pretty much, and we were going to talk about that. That's actually the infected camp that has pretty much occupied most of the map. But let's first talk about some new changes that we can notice that weren't there before. Firstly, there is the season stamina. You can see I have 400 out of 400 of it, and it actually recovers at a nice speed, 30 per hour. Now the cool thing about the season stamina is that it isn't different for each of the units. You have 400 that you can use across all of the units. And what that basically means is that you really never need to change out of your pro unit. You can use all 400 out of 400 of this season stamina using your pro unit. So that's pretty cool. The other thing is that now, if you use any stamina on geckos or baits or any insects, that's not going to use season stamina. That's going to use the stamina that you have up here. And if you are attacking any of the nodes, that's not going to use regular stamina. That's going to use the season stamina down there. So that's pretty good, especially for people who run out of stamina by doing geckos shortly before the war. Well, they won't really run out of stamina for war. They should have 400 out of 400 stamina for the war, even if they spent their whole stamina pool hunting geckos. One thing to note is that if your stamina goes below a certain point, like let's say you need 5 stamina to launch an attack on a tower, for example, and your unit stamina is less than 5, as of right now, based on certain tests, you can't actually launch attacks. Even though you're not going to use this stamina, there's a limiter that if you don't have enough stamina in that unit for regular things, you can't even use the season stamina to launch that attack. Maybe they'll fix this in the future, but right now they haven't, so make sure you have at least 5 stamina in each of the units that you think you might need to use during the war. Okay, let's show you this in action, right? I have 100 out of 100 stamina here, and I really want to get this node. So let's go ahead and take it. And you can see the attack is going through, and I have gotten that node. Now, if you go back there, you'll notice that my stamina is still 100 out of 100. It didn't go down at all, right? But if you look at the bottom, my season stamina went down from 400 to 395. Similarly, if I want to hunt this lizard that's right next to me, I can do a rally on it, and what's going to happen is that it's going to use my regular stamina, right? So it went down to 80 out of 100, and the season stamina is still 395. So a good division on season stamina and regular stamina that can be quite helpful. Now, if you do run out of season stamina, the cost of getting extra season stamina is fairly expensive. You're looking at 100 season forage per 10 season stamina. Now, what people normally would do is that when they would run out of stamina, the first redemption of stamina was particularly cheap. You only needed 10 of these forages for the first 10 stamina. That's not the case in the season. You start off at 100, and I think it remains 100 throughout. But that's extremely expensive, as you can imagine, because it is saying season forage. Now, season forage is the same as the primary forage. Like I have 670 primary forage, I can use it to get 670 season forage, and it's going to be good enough for just 60 stamina. So quite expensive if you ask me. And they also limit it to 600 restorations throughout the whole season. So you cannot have infinite season stamina. You're going to get limited, and you can only do it 600 times. Now, my understanding is 600 times essentially meaning 6,000 season stamina versus just 600. It's a little too expensive for me to test it out and see which one it really is, so we're just gonna stick with my assumption of 6,000. I don't know how many people are actually going to be using these. Costly way of getting a little bit more stamina, but as of right now, I definitely do not need it because there isn't enough season stuff to do to even use up the 400. Okay, going to the purple camp, you'll notice it's already in our initial area as well, and it's already captured the residents and a few other stuff here, and they even have their hills around it. Now you notice it's S01, and if you go here, you'll notice that there are 12 different infected alliances in this infected camp, and you can see S08 is the most powerful one. It actually has 245 anthills. That's a lot of anthills for one alliance, and a bunch of influence. And as you keep going lower, you'll notice that these are the ones that are in the initial area, the 01, 06, 05, 03, 0302. 02 has the lowest because they are under attack by our allies BLS. We haven't yet attacked them. We're still trying to figure out what's the best course of action. Now, if you look at the hills, you'll notice that there's normal, there's elite, which is not showing up over here, but they do exist. And then there's the boss, which you can see over here. There are also levels of them, but let's take a look at the normal. You can see that they have an 11-star level 30 paid insect, which is pretty cool. I mean, I wonder where they're getting all this money from, being a normal one. They use interesting units. This is PA, ATA, and HP. They're also using T9, so they're not really going to be much of a problem. If you go to the next page, they also have a Deadleaf Mantis at 11-star. Level 30 as well, so a lot of money spent on them. And you can see they're using DB, NTA, and Wise Berserker, again with T9. And then the other two are a 10-star level 24, and then there's 10-star level 21, so it does seem to decrease as you go across the different pages. Oh, the boss just fled on me, but don't worry, we're going to find a new elite and we're going to find a new boss because we're going to go into their territory and hopefully they're hanging around over here. And they are not. Well, you know what? I remember the BLS was fighting them. Let's go here and take a look. There you go. You can see a few elites. You can see BLS is actually attacking their structure. So let's take a look at the elite. Level 60, 11-star, the new Guardian Insect. And you can see they're using MB, Leaf Devourer, and Hairy Panther. And look at the stars. They're 7-star and they're using T10. The next page, same thing, just that they're using a different build. This is PA with CI and RM, which is now a good unit, of course. And then you can see level 48, 11-star with the Barren Land meta for shooters. And then there's the level 42 carrier one using the Silver Scorpion, Giant Tooth, Carpenter, and Golden Crystal. Now, the units themselves actually change. So if I were to go to another elite, it could potentially look a little bit different or it could look exactly the same. But here you go. See, a little bit different. The second page now has a level 60 carrier insect and it's using that same unit that we were talking about. But you can see there's some fluctuations that you will notice across the different infected ants. Now we're going to go to a boss and you're going to take a look. Level 100, 11-star, all 8-star ants here. It's PA, CI, and SSA. Go to the next page and they are using a pretty nice unit for Guardians, also 11-star, level 100. Even has the Iron Elephant with Golden Awakening. Talk about that. And of course you can see this is actually enhanced T10 while the Elite were using regular T10. Third page, level 80 Insect, also 11-star, and this is using a very nice carrier meta if you ask me. And then it's also using a third unit with Guardian, so it can actually have more than one ant of the same type, which is quite interesting. So it had a 8-star Iron Elephant with Golden Awakening, but it also has a Purple Awakening 6-star Iron Elephant. And same thing here, if you go across and you find another boss, you'll see that there are some fluctuations and they might be using different units across their 4 units. You could also see that it does say here that they do have a supply. So 35% supply is left, which means that it can only supply near. And BLS just got it, so we won't be able to see it, but let's go to a different one. And if you go to this one, you'll notice here that if they have 70% or more supplies left, the anthills can actually attack you if you're pretty far as well. If they have more than 50 but less than 70, they can't attack far, but they can attack you if you're medium range away from their structure. And if they have no supply left, it's only going to attack you if you are very close to that structure. And it says that infected ants consume supplies from the fortress with each march. Essentially what that means is that right now it has 100%, but if they were to start attacking BLS once they reach here, they're going to start using some of the supply. And as the supply keeps decreasing, they won't be able to continue attacking BLS if they are a little bit far away from this residence, if their supply goes below 70. But as BLS gets closer and they get considered in the medium range, then they can start attacking BLS again. When it comes to the close, I think even 0% or more is enough. So they will always attack you if you are attacking the residence itself. I think that is fine. They can still attack you. They won't really run out until you get the residence. So if you go back to the rankings and we actually click one of them, you'll notice that they do capture buffs as well. So you can see that the most successful infected ant alliance, which was S08, not only does it get additional output of their ants, they also get Guardian Ant attack, Guardian Ant defense, Shooter Ant health, Carrier defense, and a bunch of other stats that actually make them them more powerful. You can also see which structures they've occupied. They have this wonder, they have a bunch of residences as well, they have layers and all that stuff you can see here. And as you remember, they had 245 anthills. So they can actually do a lot of damage to you when you're fighting them. So let's take a look at their stats. And if you go here, so I'm actually going to use T9 that I don't need because of the fact that I've heard attacking their hills actually kills the ant potentially. So let's now invade them using T9. And of course, no problem. And we're going to use 5 season stamina. And you'll notice the stats that the normal ants have. And here you go. I was able to get through 2 of their units. I still broke their durability, so I guess they weren't defending with all. And if you look at the stats, they have 1520 attack, 1500 defense, 154% skill attack, 125% skill defense, 604% health, and the worst thing is their combat speed, 350. And similar stuff in the carriers, 1500 attack and defense, 600 health. As mentioned, there are deaths associated with attacking their hills. 64,000 of my T9 ants are completely dead now, and I won't get them back until the island ends. Okay, let's move over to an elite one and try again. I'm not even going to heal my ants because I have no interest in killing more of them. So let's just take a look at their stats now. Okay, lost this one, and you can take a look at their stats here. They have 1860% attack, 1879% defense on the guardians, 740% health, combat speed still particularly low, 395. When it comes to their shooters, similar stats as the Guardians. Again, combat speed being the biggest pain point for them. Again, notice 90,000 deaths here. Okay, now we're gonna hit a boss. And remember that the bosses are super strong, so we're definitely not gonna win this one, but let's take a look at how it goes. And there you go. Granted, my unit was already severely injured and it didn't even have Sour and Silver Ant, but you could see a lot of deaths and I barely scratched the boss. So what are the stats? 2570% attack, 2550% defense, 1024% health, 216% skill attack, 187% skill defense, but they're lacking speed, 385 only. So reasonably high amount of stats for these infected ants. Another interesting thing about these ants is that if you're building a tower that's almost connecting to their residence, they can actually react. They might build another tower here, preventing you from being able to build the next tower that's going to connect to the residence. And of course, they'll also try attacking any unbuilt towers or built towers in order to prevent you from getting access to their residence or any of their structures. They work like any other alliance as well. Just like any other alliance, they are pretty organized. They're just going to build an efficient spot. There you go. You can see they'll put down the next tower, and all of a sudden you'll start noticing their hills are going to start teleporting close to it, and they're going to start building this next tower. And usual thing that I notice is that they actually rally the towers. Instead of trying to build them normally, they're just going to have a rally and somebody's going to open a bunch of rallies. The others are going to join the rally, and then those rallies will complete and the units are going to go into the tower in the form of a rally, even though it's their own tower, which is of course unusual, but that's how they do. So you can see it went down from 4 days to 28 minutes, and you can see others are joining in to help in the construction of the tower. Here you can see them rallying the structure, and you can see a swarm of them showed up, and they're all doing rallies from not the best locations, but they are doing rallies. That's good. And eventually they're going to get that layer as well. Here's an example of war. BLS created a tower that's connecting to their tower, and they started slowly showing up in small numbers and kept on increasing the number of hills and of course the strength of the hills, and started rallying the tower that BLS was creating that was connecting to their tower. As you can imagine, they were using some of the fungi capacity of the nearby structure to enable this to happen, and eventually when they ran out of that fungi, like it went lower than 70%, these attacks obviously had to stop. Now they are active. The problem of course is their low combat speed, so you are almost essentially always going to hit them first, and that's going to result in a lot of their units getting killed, primarily due to their low combat speed. They can't hit you first, you're hitting them first. An interesting thing to note is that in some of the structures, they actually give season revival fungi as one of the first rewards. And of course, since I have you here, I want to remind you that you can get between 10 to 35% bonus on all in-game purchases in the Ants Underground Kingdom. The steps are extremely simple. A lot of people are already using it as well, so do join our Discord. You can ask other people for their honest opinions, ask them how much money they're actually saving using my promo code, which is currently Sky8, but it might change. So do check out the title of the video that I'm linking to the description for the latest one and for the steps that'll guide you through the process. Thank you so much for your support. So that's pretty much all I have for you for the first impressions of the Surreal Wetland. Fairly interesting. The NPCs aren't completely useless this time, but at the same time, they don't seem like they're going to be the ones conquering the whole island as I thought before. When I saw the number of the boss anthills that they had, I was like, wow, they're filled with whales and they have a lot more people than us. 253 hills for that one alliance, with a significant proportion of them being bosses. So it seemed like they could easily destroy, but I think they're not as hard to kill as they seem. Based on the attacks that BLS did, they did seem to fare fairly well against them. You can see that they occupied these two structures from them, and now they're occupying these ones as well. So it doesn't seem like these infected ants are going to be a huge problem for us, but who knows? Maybe the 081, by the time we get there, they're going to have like 400 hills and all of them are going to be bosses, and we'll find out, I guess. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like the video, please subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.